Nityo anityanam chetanascetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman tamatmastam ye anupashyanti dhiraha tesham shanti shashvati na itaresham. In this webinar 230, on this day of October 9, 2022, we are going to take a look at the topic Shānti. This topic, Shānti, peace, is of interest from the general spiritual point of view. After all, everyone goes for spirituality, for discovering greater peace in life. In addition, I will not dwell much on it. There is another component in a certain ashram that we are going to build and launch next year near Pune or Bombay in Maharashtra. We have been saying that there will be two kinds of programs. One kind of programs are under the wing called Shakti, and another are under the wing called Shānti. Therefore, in the context of the nomenclature, Shakti program, Shānti programs, we did a webinar some time back where we talked about Shakti. I will make a few comments on this Shakti versus Shānti once more, and in 5 minutes get into elaborating on Shānti exclusively. Shakti and Shānti are to be appreciated as spiritual exercises, spiritual attainment on two levels. Vast number of us, whether we like it or not, are very identified with our personality. And this personality has negativities, impurities, false values, and whatnot. To remove those negativities and to make the personality pure, able, noble, walking the path of dharma, etc., is the gist of Shakti. Human values come under Shakti. Please note, I began saying we are identified with our personality. Therefore, Shakti programs apply to the domain within the personality. How to make the personality a better one. How to be a better human being, how to be a better father, how to be a better teacher, how to be everywhere, to better in terms of human values. What is Shānti then? Shānti is transcending the personality. Shānti is arriving at certain spiritual understanding where this personality consisting of body, mind, senses, etc. sits lightly in our awareness like a drop in the bucket, and we have a steady understanding of who we are on a very different plane altogether. Therefore, we use the expression transcending the personality, beyond personality. These things are not anything new really. We have been talking of these at places in all our lectures. Shakti is about the pursuit of dharma. It is about anchoring better in swadharma, freeing ourselves from the clutches of paradharma. And Shānti is about moksha, dharma and moksha. Shānti is about moksha. It's not so much about swadharma, Kshatriya or Vaishya and so on, or Purusha or Stri or so on, or teacher or student and so on. There is Swadharma in all those specific domains. Shanti is about Swarupa Dharma. Husband or wife, teacher or student, man or woman, child or adult, anyone in one's Swarupa is Sat Chit, pure existence, pure awareness. No wonder Swami Vivekananda gave a motto to the monks, especially of Sri Ramakrishna Mission, Atmano Mokshaya Jagad Hitaya Cha. In the context of the webinar at this time, I would say Shakti programs are about Jagad Hita. Can you and I live in such a way that we serve our society, our country, the whole world, whatever way, whatever extent possible? Jagad Hita. Whereas Shanti is about Atmano Mokshaya. And there's no selfishness in Atmano Moksha. On the contrary, when you and I serve the society, when you and I do our Swadharma in an eminent manner, certain higher understanding takes place in us. So, with that little bit of clarification, what programs apply to Shakti, what programs apply to Shanti? If you are studying Vidura Niti or Chanakya Niti or certain values presented in Geetā or Upanishads, then you are into a Shakti program. But whether it is in Mahabharata or Bhagavad Gita or some work like Naishkarmya Siddhi or the Upanishads, of course, if you are studying such portions, such mantras, such commentaries by Sri Shankaracharya, where rather than making yourself a better human being, you get a glimpse of who you are truly speaking, who you are in a deeper sense of the word. With that, let's plunge into some details of what Shanti programs are all about. Shakti, Shanti, both are about studying, and then, of course, you apply or application takes place. You see, when you see a snake where actually there is a rope, getting afraid and running takes place. You don't say, I am able to see the snake. What should I do now? You will run. Application happens. Likewise, suppose as we have put it in the example, it's not really a snake, it's a rope. Suppose you throw a beam of light on that object at a certain distance and you see, oh, it's a rope. I clearly see it's a rope. You don't ask guru or some friend, now I know it's a rope. Should I run or should I stay? Once you see it is a rope, you will relax. Therefore, we don't talk much about applications here, but there are clear applications to both Shakti and Shanti in life, and the person's behavior most of the times will show. All right, where is Shanti touched upon? Let's see in Geetā and Upanishads. Bhagavad Gita is both a Moksha Shastra and Dharma Shastra. It is both Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. And now in this webinar we want to see a couple of examples where Bhagavad Gita plays the role of being a Moksha Shastra. Gita talks about an entirely different way of seeing things. Right in the second chapter, while talking on Sita Sthita Prajna, the man or lady of steady wisdom, Sri Krishna says, you see, the wise people are those who stay awake when it is night for all, and they go to sleep when it is, all others are awake. Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagarti Sanyami. The well-known 69th shloka in the second chapter. That is a quantum leap. That is where you see things entirely differently. We will see more of it. What is that entirely different way of seeing life, seeing things, seeing yourself? Again, in the same Sthita Prajna portion, Lord Krishna talks about Yesha Brahmi Sthiti Partha. This is a Brahmic state, Brahmanishta. And if one arrives in this Brahmanishta, then one never gets deluded again. Even if 2 seconds before breathing one's last, if one gets a glimpse of this, then one is liberated. Sthitva asyam antakale api. Antakale. I took the liberty to translate it as 2 seconds before clinical death was announced by the doctors. You suddenly saw, I am not dying. What? No one is dying. And no one is going anywhere. No one is undergoing any change. That drishti, that is Brahmi sthiti. Then one is liberated. Then lastly, from Bhagavad Gita, all through 18 chapters I can pick up, but indirectly that will come anyhow in the other quotes from Upanishads that I will be presenting. In the third chapter, Sri Krishna says, we have indriyas, we have buddhi, we have manaha, and above all this, buddhehe paratastu saha. You go from the gross to the subtle, from the subtle to the subtler, and so on. It's not going to be just a sequence, an endless sequence like that. Somewhere there's a tip point. Somewhere you leap. Buddhehe paratastu saha. And in 13th chapter, he praises that pure truth as Jyotisham api tad jyotihi, the light of all lights, and so on. In the fourth chapter, this jnana, this vision which gives Shanti, our topic is Shanti, we are not going far from it. The supreme Shanti is possible only through the Paramartha Jnana, Brahma Jnana, the ultimate wisdom. And Sri Krishna praises in the fourth chapter. He says, Jnana is like a fire. And Jnanagnihi sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. Just as regular fire burns all wood in a short while, when you and I come upon that totally different way of seeing things, then all our karma goes away. And at many places in the Gita, and for example, just 2 verses after this comparison of the liberating insight with fire, Sri Krishna uses the word Shānti. Jnanam labdva param Shāntim achirena adhigacchati. He not only says Shānti, he says para Shānti. Therefore, we call it supreme peace, profound peace, lasting peace, everlasting peace. And that is our topic. All right. Are you then carrying Shanti and the highest spiritual understanding together? Absolutely. Unless we have the highest spiritual understanding, no Shanti is permanent. All Shanti comes and goes. We may experience great peace when some goal is arrived at. We fulfill our dream. And I am so happy. I don't need anything in life, we say, for just a little while. Then so many other desires rise in our mind. Life looks like a wild goose chase. You go on running and you haven't hunted down the goose. That's an idiom, wild goose chase, where you finally get exhausted and the wild goose has vanished between the bushes. Is life bound to be a wild goose chase all along? Vedanta says no. If you study from competent teachers, if you go by certain disciplines, you will arrive at a different way of seeing things. Shankaracharya calls it Samyak Darshan. All along, when you were chasing wealth, you were chasing pleasure, you were pursuing power and position, and some of us even pursued the so called merit that is available in serving people. Punya. In olden days, people performed elaborate Vedic rituals to amass punya, merit, whereby they would go to heaven for a very long stay, probably. So, even for the sake of punya, when you do karma and you have a sense of I am a karta, that is all on the lower plane of dharma. We don't look down at it, we are all on that plane pretty much. But in the larger picture, moksha is way higher than karma. So, when we gain this highest understanding, there is Shanti. Karma cannot give this Shanti about which we are talking now. Therefore, if we have some workshop, a short time program, or a 6 months program in the ashram Dana Shakti that is coming up, the focus will be, if it is a Shanti program, the focus will be on understanding the subtleties. The questions like, am I in the world or is the world in me, will be taken up in Shanti program. In Shakti program, somebody has come to study Vidura Niti. Next month, for example, we have one, though it's in Kannada language in Bangalore. Somebody has come to Vidura Niti, and if a teacher like me asks him on the first day itself, you think you are the body? Are you serious? It would be most inappropriate. Even if as a Vedanta teacher, certain ideas come in my mind to go to, to take a diversion into Paramartha Drishti, I have to restrain myself. These guys, these ladies have come to study Vidura Niti, how to be more effective in their work, how to be more fair in their family scenarios, how to be able to forgive and forget, how to enjoy harmonious relationships, how to be of service to the country or society. That is their lakshya, that is their goal. And if I ask them that time, what country, what world, are you not Brahman? Then that's very, very inappropriate. But in Shanti program, that is the kind of question we will be raising. And very carefully and gently, not in some ideological manner, not to use just some bombastic language. When you and I enter Vedanta, at least some of us, if not all, in the beginning we are very much excited about some bombastic language, sometimes glamorous language. Just the statement, ordinary knowledge solves a problem. Vedanta dissolves the very entity that has problem. Okay, so wonderful. Come on, let's go for breakfast. That way, we are very happy just with the beauty of a statement without knowing how it is possible, what is meant by the entity having the problem dissolves and so on. We are charmed by the statement itself, and eloquent speakers, wonderful orators on the Vedanta throw upon the audience very many such glamorous, bombastic statements, and the audience get dumbfounded. Oh, and so on. That may not lead anyone to Shanti really. After all that, nice statements, which is like marketing, which is like some salesmanship, which is like the reception counter in some organization, you need to then get down to the real business. where it's not going to be easy. So, Parashanti is the issue. So, how is Shanti, peace, connected with jnana? Now, let me come to an Upanishadic statement. In the Ishavasya Upanishad, all the 18 mantras are not about Brahma Vidya. All the 18 mantras are not about this highest wisdom. Some are about upasanas, some are some comments on a karma, some are just praise of Atma Vidya, not really getting down to what Atma Vidya is. But there are some 4 or 5 mantras, and I am quoting 2 now, well-known mantras. Mantra 6 and 7 are such mantras which, if we study, will give us a different perspective. Whether we can fully stay there, even if we get a certain understanding, whether we can stay on and go deeper into it is a different question. But the mantras 6 and 7 are mind-blowing. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevanupashyati sarvabhuteshu cha atmanam tato na vijugupsate, says mantra 6. If one sees all in oneself and oneself in awe, then one is no more insecure. One's insecurity, one's fear, one's anxiety about what will happen tomorrow. Today I am okay somehow, but tomorrow I don't know, etc. Such thoughts. No, na vijugupsate. Yasmin sarvani bhutani. The next mantra says, Atma eva abhut. Tom, Dick and Harry, cat, lion and tiger, mountains, rivers and others. All of them are me only. I myself am all of them. This is the perspective being given in the 7th mantra. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atma eva abhut vijanatah tatra ko mohaha. How can there be any more delusion? Moha is delusion. Moha is our coming under certain false values. Moha is where we see somebody having a huge house and something in our heart starts aching. I don't know whether I should have gone for all this Vedanta. I also should have built a big house like this. So, wealth and things, I need not give a long list. There are 1,000 things in life which make us, suppose we don't have, somebody else has, we envy. And then there are another 1,000 things, if we have, we feel proud. Then there are 1,000 things which we dislike, we abhor. We say, even my enemy should not go through this, such a terrible state, and so on. All that, according to Vedanta, is moha. Munirna vyamoham bhajati guru diksha kshatatama. There is a line in Jivan Muktananda Lahari. If someone's tamaha, darkness, is destroyed, then that person will be able to see things always from that Brahma Vidya point of view. And then Vyamoham na bhajati punaha. Even Sri Krishna says in the Geetā at a couple of places, by which, O Arjuna, I will give you now this knowledge, by which you will not again get deluded. Punar moham na yasyasi, and so on. So, Ishavasya says, Tatra ko moha, kashoka. No wonder in his very introductory commentary on the Geetā, Adi Shankara says, the one problem that all of us have is shoka moha. Shoka leads to moha, moha leads to shoka. It's a vicious circle. Somewhere our ego has been hurt, and today we may not remember where exactly it all began. Today we may not even remember the details, but there is a certain sorrow in us. And then that sorrow influences our perception. Since we do not have childlike innocence, since we do not have a totally open mind, since we do not have a perspective where we just are there to observe and learn, we rather have already a wound that we are nursing. Maybe because we have not been as wealthy as somebody else. Maybe because we have not been so lucky in some relationships. The details vary, but there is a shoka. Shankaracharya seems to ask us in his Geetā Bhashya, right in the first few chapters, he uses the expression shoka moha quite a few times. He seems to ask us, show me one person on the earth who does not carry some shoka, some sorrow in his bosom. Outwardly, we are all smart. Somebody may say, I have a friend, he is always cheerful. Always he keeps smiling. So enthusiastic. I have never seen him. All that is not true. Go close to him or her. Spend some time with him. Then you will see. Many times when you and I do that exercise, go close to somebody who we thought was very happy. We come to a point when we realize, my God, he has more problems than we have. Rama Rama, we are far better. Thank you, we go away. This happens to us many times. From a distance, everything looks so good. Show me one person, Shankaracharya seems to say, that's my way of putting it, who does not have shoka. And that leads to moha, because perception gets clouded. And when perception gets clouded, then moha, undue attachment or unwarranted dislike rise. Then we do mistakes and that causes more sorrow. So this is a vicious circle. And I said, no wonder Adi Shankara uses those two words with certain extra force, knowing very well they are the words used in this Ishavasya mantra. Tatra ko mohaha kashokaha ekatvam anupashyataha. So we see one difference between Shānti and Shakti. In Shānti, born of the highest jnana, one sees oneness. Not just on a social level, that is just a corollary to the theorem, even on a very deep level of existence. All are one. One Brahma appears as all. Normally, we settle for the poetic beauty of such a statement. Both listeners and speakers like me. We make some very flowery statement. Audience is happy. And seeing audience happy, we are also very happy. We pat ourselves on the back. I gave a terrific lecture today. And then if some serious Vedanta teacher asks us, yeah, you gave a terrific lecture, but did you yourself understand what you were talking? Then we take a deep breath. You know, I'm trying to understand at last. But so far I have been a master in delivering flowery statements. Because when you study, that's what happens first. You will know metaphors, you will know illustrations, you will know very nice figurative expressions. You can bamboozle an audience with your knowledge. But true wisdom is, in your heart, has sorrow ended? In fact, J. Krishnamurti once said, man's sorrow is in wanting to become. What a wonderful statement. He doesn't complete the sentence by saying wanting to become prime minister, wanting to become a billionaire, wanting to become the partner of a most beautiful or handsome person. He doesn't say what. He just puts man's sorrow is in wanting to become, period. Full stop. I found it very significant. When we have shoka, sorrow, what does it mean? I'm not happy with my life. I'm not happy with what I am. I'm not happy at seeing myself. My own self-image is okay, but not as okay as I want it to be. That is shoka. And then what is expression? As Krishna ji had rightly said, then I want to become. If I am a professor in Bangalore University, much appreciated, much admired, much adored by students and management, everybody, let us say. In spite of it, there is a sorrow in me. Twice or thrice I tried to be a faculty in Harvard or Oxford. I was rejected. I didn't tell anybody. I'm just constructing an offhand example. I want to become a professor in Harvard. And the Harvard professor has some other stream. Everybody wants to become something. The Harvard professor, the Cambridge professor is aspiring to become the chief editor of some new project that some billionaire has floated, some big encyclopedia, something has to be done. And this professor hopes, I want to. He is bored with his present position. Let me not go into more details. Kings and academicians and great businessmen and great people, great in hundreds of fields, in their heart of hearts, long to become something else. Their self-image is not all that satisfying. They have an image of, and in ordinary workshops, by the way, a different kind of statement is made. That is Shakti program. Shakti program, what they say is, dream big. You will become what you dream, etc. That is Shakti program. You come to my Vidura program. One day I will also raise my voice as high as possible and say, life is meant for reaching great goals. Reach higher goals. Don't aim at small hills. Aim at Everest. Don't call me to join. Aim at Everest. I will make such statements in Vidura. But if I am making such a statement, have a great goal and reach there, stop not till you reach there, etc. In the Shānti program, there is something amiss. In Shānti program, we say, oh dear, you want to become right, whatever. What makes you have that thought? First of all, what is wrong in what you are now? And do you know what you are? In this way, we shake the foundations of that Shoka Moha complex. The Shoka Moha complex makes us go round and round. That's called samsara. Then Kathopanishad has that mantra which I chanted for a change. I chanted it as the Shānti mantra. It says, Nityaha Anityana Atmastam Ye Anupashyanti. Those of us who in our own within ourselves see something that is Nitya, that is eternal, timeless. Even as superficially body is changing, it will die one day. Mind is changing, it may stop working one day. Everything is anitya. Anityanam nityam ye pashyanti. Putra pashyanti atmani eva. Dhiraha. And then chetanaha chetanana. Rather than being carried away by the external nama rupa, a little 8-year-old girl is dancing. Everybody is enjoying the dance. Wow, how talented she is. Whose daughter is that, etc. But a Brahmajnani or a Brahmachintaka says, of course, the dance is nice. The girl is so pretty. God has blessed her with looks and talent and this and that. But what is that life in her? Life principle, which is making possible this dance, these movements, this smile, this vigor in her. One's attention goes to the life principle, that is Chetana. Today it's expressing as her dance. Tomorrow she may say goodbye to dance. She may become a professional, in artificial intelligence. She may be giving lectures, doing some research. So the externalities keep changing. Those immature ones among us always cling to externalities. But the mature ones behold the Chetana, the enlivening principle. And it says, Eko Bahuna, among the many, one sees the one. That is Kathopanishad. Now, one last example from Upanishads we take, that is Chandogya Upanishad, has a very interesting scenario in the 7th chapter. Chandogya Upanishad, in essence, is an Ashtadhyayi. It has 8 chapters. Tattvamasi comes in the 6th chapter, but we are talking of 7th chapter, where Narada has learned so many Vidyas, all the Vedas, all the Vedangas, and some astrology, some astronomy. There's a long list of subjects. He has learned all, and yet he is unhappy. Maybe he didn't tell anyone else, but before Sanaka, he confesses. Confessions of an honest Devarshi. Narada is a Devarshi, that is born of Devas. He says, Shochami, I still have grief. So in the 23rd Khanda of this 6th chapter, or 7th chapter of Chandogya, this is a much quoted line. Rishi Sanat Kumara, not Sanaka, Sanat Kumara says, Narada, all that you have learned, all that you have excelled in, Narada, all that you got in so many Shakti programs are nothing. Come over now to Shānti program. Narada blinks, huh? What is this Shānti program? How do I get Shānti? Then Sanat Kumara says, Yo vai bhuma tat sukham. Not these Veda mantras, not this Karma Kanda, not these Upasanas, not artificial intelligence, not all this. Today also there are so many subjects in the universities which baffle us, and many of us who are not ripe enough or mature enough in spirituality have a second thought sometimes. Or instead of Vedanta, if I had studied that in a very reputed university of the world, I would have by now. Why know what? Swami Chinmayananda used to say, in this world all are unhappy. The poor are uncomfortably unhappy, rich are comfortably unhappy. If I had gone to Columbia or MIT, Stanford or some other place and learned, I'm leading authority on artificial intelligence and I hold that chair, etc. Then, like Chinmayananda said, by now I would have been comfortably unhappy. With a huge house, maybe in near Boston or Palo Alto, wherever, and enjoying the adoration of so many students. I go on cycling in the campus, and a lot of them from a distance may say, number one in artificial intelligence. This year he missed it. Next year he may get Nobel Prize. It may give me a kick. But am I really happy? No way. Narada was like that. A very, very distinguished faculty of a distinguished university enjoying worldwide reputation. That kind of stature Narada had. But alas, Shochami, he says, I still have sorrow in me, which so far no TV anchor has found out. That's good. But I'm telling you, Sanat Kumar, he confesses before Sanat Kumar. Then Sanat Kumara says, you go for Bhuma. And without going into details at this moment, the next mantra actually gives the pointer. Bhuma cannot be grasped in words, but there are words in the Upanishads which can help us loosen our identification, which can help us let go of certain false notion. So Bhuma is that where there is no duality. Yatra na anyat pashyati. The seer is separate, the seen is separate. That situation no more is the scenario. Normally, if I see an apple, I am not the apple. The one who sees the apple and the apple that is seen are two separate things. But yatra anyat na pashyati. There's a long, beautiful paragraph and saying that Bhuma is clarified. So let me tell you, without going round and round in the same way, this is actually, on one hand, the simplest of all vidyas, Brahma Vidya. The problem is we are so much immersed in false notions. We are so much immersed, not just knee deep, not waist deep. Maybe I should say neck deep or forehead deep. We are immersed in space, time, causation, immersed in a certain Jagrat centric angle of view. We have taken this Jagrat as so real, and we imagine we go from this Jagrat state, which is unquestionably true, that's what we believe. And we go to dream, and after some time, we come back, and then we see that our laptop is at the same place, or our bank balance is undisturbed. Haba. Now is this time to go to Vedanta class. So before going to Vedanta class, we ensure that our waking state bank balance, waking state house, waking state. But Vedanta says, if you don't mind, we would like to tell you that this whole waking state is what you really appear as. You are something with no boundaries. You are something with no limitations. You appear actually as the entire waking state, and then you identify with this body and mind, and then this whole thing, you know, is not true. It is as false as dream. In dream, very much like waking, not a degree less, not a degree more. In dream, you actually you appear as the entire dream world, but there is a sense of I am this dream body. And when you don't do either of these, you are yourself. The truth of deep sleep, you are pure awareness. And that awareness, Satchit as we call it, existence awareness, appears. So, if having raised it, having said it, if somebody says, did you not say it appears and then disappears? You are so conditioned by your ordinary physics. You here also imagine the axis of time to be unquestionably true. That's the limitation of language, friends. Limitation of language it is, because all languages, English or Punjabi, Bengali or Gujarati, all languages have evolved to handle this phenomenal universe where there is time and space. Everything happens on the axis of time. So we don't have a separate language. Therefore, using this language, which is soaked in time and space, we do use the expression. You go, or let's say, we don't say go. Let's say waking appears and vanishes. Dream appears, vanishes. Dream and waking are on par, we say. So when we say appears and disappears, please note, it in no way gives reality to time. Time of waking is completely invalid when there is dream. There is dream time, dream space, dream causation. And no space, no time, no causation is deep sleep. So sometimes you may say, this is too hard, it's too complex. You mean in deep sleep we are pure Brahman? And because of your old conditioning, certain doubts arise. If in my deep sleep I am pure Brahma, then that must be enlightened. When I come back to waking, I must be coming like an enlightened soul. Sir, be a little patient. You need to question who says you are not Brahma. Now also you are Brahma. So see where the error is. See what is error. So there are some, but I would once more say, it does look complex, but when you get it, you will laugh or you will cry. You will say, my God, I never thought it is so simple. You will actually say when you get it that all along I took this world to be real, and that notion was so complex. Whereas when I know I am, period. Anyway, I'll not go into the details of Brahma Vidya, no, but this webinar is about how there is a certain fundamental revision of the entire universe. Waking universe is reassessed, re-evaluated. It is questioned at its roots. Dream is questioned at its very roots. Deep sleep is appreciated, and our present notions, if we had some notions, you know, are questioned. So, on one hand, it looks complex, but on the other, you know, as Swami Sachidanandendra Saraswati would say, it is Anubhava Gamya Vedanta. First time when I read that expression some years ago, I did not figure out why he is calling it Anubhava Gamya. But as I have been reading more, and now last few days I am reading a book by one of his disciples, Devaraya Kulkarni. Very nicely he has written. And some of the sentences he made were so good. Yeah, let me. He says here a very general sentence. If you go by the way of thinking that Upanishad provides you, the way of vichara is inquiring. He says, as you go along with the Upanishad vichara is thinking, inquiring, exploring, and examining. All that is contained in the word vichara. If you go by Upanishad vichara, then your tādātmya, that's a Sanskrit word, identification. Your identification with a certain idea, I am this way, I am that way, I am good, I am bad. There are no notions, thoughts in us, right? He says, you will be able to let go of those identifications and stay in a certain experience, anubhava. You just stay as the anubhava, as the anubhuti, aparoksha anubhuti, as the title of Vedantic text goes. And in fact, we need to examine why it's called anubhava. That's why it puzzled me long ago. But then I realized this anubhava of being is more valid than the sensory anubhavas, which are actually a kind of passing show. So, what I wanted to highlight in Devaraya Kulkarni's book is how he says, if you go along the Upanishadic vichara, your tādātmya will drop off. That's a beautiful statement. We let go, that neti happens. So, under Shānti, there is definitely material which can give to us great Shānti. I'll connect this dropping of identification with what I earlier have talked of wanting to become and conclude. Unless you are tādātmya, that is, I am this person. Suppose somebody's name is Sachidanand Gupta. That's a name. He has a great idea. I am Sachidanand Gupta. I am presently of a certain stature in society. I want to go there, etc. He is filled with that. If he goes by Upanishad Vichara, he will hold that identity very lightly in his consciousness. He knows that the Sachidananda Gupta, he is sometimes winning, sometimes losing. To me, it really makes no difference. And he will also see, in a manner of saying, he will also see that till a while ago I used to think unless I become that, my life is a waste. I must to become this, etc. I used to think. But thanks to the Upanishadic insight, I now know very clearly I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to become anything. I don't need to arrive anywhere. Om Shanti. He says Shanti. So where you are, what you are, even if you are suffering from a terminal ailment, cancer, the most serious level, Upanishad wisdom can give you a power to reconcile with it. Yeah, yeah, this body will fall. But because that deep inside there is a transformation. The desire to become, desire to impress, etc. goes away. So it's a marvelous wisdom, and that comes under Shanti. Om Namah Paramarashibhyo, Namah Paramarashibhyaha. If there are a couple of questions, I will try to answer them. And as always, please feel free to make comments also. Doesn't have to be question only. So first question is by Ranjan Desai. He has raised his hand. Please turn your mic on, Ranjan, and go ahead. Turn your microphone on and then speak. Or are you not there now?
Swamiji, this hand was read from the starting itself.
Oh, I noticed it now. So Praveena gets the chance. Yeah. Fine.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Welcome.
So I know before we say just really amazing talk, not just the talk information, but so Swamiji, that means that with this understanding, so we even revise our definition of God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. God, see, anyhow, from childhood onwards, our understanding of God keeps improving.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, we might have thought of God as someone who rewards us when we pray to Him, punishes us if we miss our prayer, some rough idea. Later on, we may understand God to be so compassionate, so loving. He is guiding us on a path of learning. So, in the Vedanta, finally, God is that supreme intelligence, and we are not apart or separate from it. That understanding dawns on us.
Thank you, Swamiji.
All right, welcome.
Namaste, Swamiji. I'm sorry, I was.
That's why Ranjan came back. Okay, tell me.
Just a minute. Actually, I wanted to ask you about the Shakti and Shānti part in the ashram that you're going to have.
Correct.
So I was really interested in that, and I was in fact wanting to find out what
I have spoken about it in 2 webinars. See, today is the 2:30. So 2:27 is on the YouTube. I have in detail talked about Shakti. Today also, in the first 10 to 15 minutes, I again and again said, what is Shakti, what is Shanti, what's the difference?
No, I heard
Shakti,
about that. Today's,
Oh, you heard.
Yeah, so actually the question was, in Ganpati Atharva Shirsha Upanishad, there is, it says the Muladhara Sitosi Nityam, right? And then it says Tvam Shakti Triyatmakaha.
Correct.
So what are the 3 Shaktis there in that?
I'm not an expert on that, but probably it is Ichcha Shakti, jnāna-Shakti, and Kriya Shakti.
Okay.
All of us
have
these 3 Shaktis, powers, and in our case, they are dim. So they get strengthened by the grace of Lord Ganapati.
Okay, but then in the Tantriya Yoga, right? They say it's what is it? The Kundalini Shakti is the source of the Ganpati Shakti. So in case and also I remember that you had already said once that Chinna Mission, they don't like yoga. So I'm going to have this chakras and things in your ashram too, and not.
No, we are not planning to have any temple at all.
No, not temple. I'm talking about the Kundalini chakra. They're not getting up there.
No. We are not into Raja Yoga. That is Raja Yoga. A variation of Raja Yoga. We are mainly into jnāna-yoga, Geetā and Upanishads to be studied.
Okay.
Vichara marga. But we respect so many paths. And if anybody who is a little, level-headed person wants to come and offer a 1-week program on Kundalini, especially if that person is a very balanced sattvic personality, and it's a kind of learning because these complement each other sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
So someone may attend Kundalini and at least he will know, whether he should learn more or he need to just forget it. Sometimes we may audit a course to decide that we don't belong there anymore. Till then, we might have had some curiosity, right?
Yeah. So I mean that was mainly my question, because I want to know
Wonderful.
which Tvam Shakti Triatmaka, right? So which is the three? So that's what I wanted to find out.
Yeah.
Thanks for your answer.
Welcome, Ranjan. By the way, Ranjan has been with these webinars from the beginning. So, and so many times he used to really.
No, actually, one more thing I want to add. Dr. Gautam, I had asked this question about him because in Atharvashirsha Upanishad it says, "Do not give this Upanishad to anybody else." And then that was I was put back on that, and that was one of the reasons I was not that interested.
Bhagavad Geeta also says at the end, "Don't give this wisdom to those who don't have faith."
Yeah.
And so on. That's a different topic.
All right.
All
thank
right.
you.
Welcome.
So I think
Yes, Prasad Vepa, please.
And a couple of things. I missed
Subramaniam,
and
Prasad may please wait for a moment. Subramaniam is speaking. Go ahead, Subramaniam.
Oh, okay. What is the good sadhana for average person to progress towards this goal of peace? I mean, it's not a goal to reach there.
Yeah, you are already doing it. To read books like Eknath Ishwaran, right. That gives a very sattvic temperament. It reduces the rajasic tendencies. It arouses in us certain vairagya, certain viveka. And then slowly pick up the hardcore Vedanta. And discussing with the teachers. Rather than focusing on quantity, go for essential works and then try to get clear on certain statements. For example, today I quoted this Devaraya Kulkarni. Upanishadic study helps us drop attachment to our personality. So you must seek clarification. What does it mean to drop? How does it show? How does it show in our behavior or in our responses? So a teacher or a fellow student, you may be having some friends who are also studying sincerely. They may throw some light on it. Then you are very clear. So having raised that, if I am strongly identified with the role, it hurts me when somebody praises somebody else who is playing the role. Let's say I am an actor in movies, very attached to it. And one party I go, all are praising another actor. Then I will feel very embarrassed. I should not have come this way. So and then some other get together, they are praising me. Maybe without their knowing I am there, they may say, "Oh, my name, let us say, is some X or Y. No, X is the best actor these days. They don't know I am also there at a distance." Hearing that, I will feel so good. Whereas when Tadatmya becomes less, identification less, I will curiously hear. I will hear both praise and insult. And it may cause slight jerk. But then I say, well, they must be seeing one side of me and talking like this. If they say another side, they will talk another. Why should I so much depend on what people say? That is an indication of identification reducing. And then we go towards Shānti. So my summary answer is continue with the appreciation of works like Ishwaran's, and then in between go on trying your hand at pure Vedanta. Pure Vedanta which throws light on who am I, on inquiry, on the nature of the pure self. When you have doubt, please discuss with someone. Then when you discuss and get clarity, you will go deeper. Otherwise, in place of 3 examples you have 20 examples now to convey something, but you have not gone deeper. It's a horizontal growth. You have to go vertically.
Thanks for me.
All welcome. Prasad Garu.
Thank you very much, Hari Om Swamiji. Today's talk, we are very grateful to you. It was most insightful and most inspiring, and very, very profound. I see that you're really immersed in, and you explain both Shakti and Shanti beautifully. I got it is a very blissful experience this morning. I just want to express deep appreciation for that. Thank you.
Swamiji, there is one question from Shakti ji on chat box.
Okay. Doesn't na vijugupsate imply absence of jugupsa or abhorrence? That's a good question. The word jugupsa in modern times is much used in the sense of abhorrence. You are right. But I went by etymology. You know, gopayati means to protect something. You know, jugupsa is wanting to protect. I want to protect my image. I want to protect my wealth. I want to protect my status. But the world is sending me signals. Tomorrow I may not keep this chair. Tomorrow my image may be tarnished. I get anxiety. Therefore, I took jugupsa as fear, insecurity. Probably it's a modern usage of the word that has dragged it towards abhorrence. The Ishavasya doesn't seem to use that word in that sense. He no more abhors. No. He no more is conscious of his image, wanting to protect and so on. That fits in better there. Because even you know how you are a student of Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti also talked extensively of lingering insecurity. So jugupsa is insecurity, na vijugupsate, no more anxious. If somebody takes away my title, let him. If my chair goes, let that chair go. If I am no more popular, so be it. Then no na vijugupsate comes. Okay, Shamala Shetty has a question in text box. Though I study some of the scriptures, I am not able to memorize the terms used in the scriptures like Tattva Bodha. Yeah, if you don't memorize, then always keep those little cards or little sheets, you know, handy. Make a file and use them. No problem at all. It's like, you know, somebody is unable to memorize, let's say, multiplication tables. Not a big deal. Keep a calculator always, or keep, in golden days, you know, multiplication table. You know, 18 into 5 is 90. So you have your tables. So have some reference material and don't make an issue of that. And to an extent, it is regularity of your study and sometimes doing satsangs that bring about clarity in your mind. So the number of words you may remember may be very less. That's not a big issue. Somebody else may remember a lot of words, but his pride, his arrogance, or his revengefulness in some matter may not go. What a tragedy. It's a greater tragedy. If you have less memory, it's not, I won't call it a tragedy at all, but even if you say it's undesirable, it's not such a big issue. So keep some handy references or charts. Okay, let me see whether I left out any. No, the other things in the...
Murthy ji has a question, Swamiji.
Yeah, Ravindra Murthy here. I'm not able to see hand symbol on my screen. Can I ask a question? Yeah, please ask verbally. Yeah.
Pranam Swamiji, thank you.
Namaskara.
Namaskara. I just wanted to share with the group, and I'm sure you're familiar with this term probably. Hodai Narsipur Swamiji uses the term Sarvatrika Purnanubhava. That is the universal experience that is within the purview of every single human being on this earth who can verify the Avasthatriya Viveka alone to cognize I as an impersonal reality, as a fact of life. That's the point he makes. And I wanted to ask you whether I haven't really read any of the scriptures very little knowledge of various methodology to cognize this. But to me personally, I have found this avasthatriya prakriya as the only methodology to see that I, as an independent principle of existence and consciousness.
Right, right.
Do you agree or disagree, Swamiji?
I fully disagree with it. I fully agree with that. Yeah. That is Sarvatrika. What did you say?
Sarvatrika Purnanubhava. Purna, he refers to the life as spread out across the entire spectrum of dream,
states. Yeah.
deep sleep, and wakeful state. That is Purnanubhava. There is nothing beyond this.
Correct.
And then Sarvatrika is every single individual on this earth. For the time that we know, or timeless we know, everything.
Correct. That's a very wonderful expression, as I myself admitted during my talk. Some years ago, that Anubhava Ghamya Vedanta, that expression itself didn't make much sense to me. But now, after examining several works, it's not only making great sense, it's so beautiful. Yeah, so if you haven't read the original Shankara Bhashya or original Upanishads so much, you can always take them up whenever you get some time. But these Sachidanandendra Saraswati, Devaraya Kulkarni and so on, they have done wonderful justice. And it's so coherent, no contradiction. Only thing we need to have the patience to walk along with them. As we keep walking along with them, things become so clear. Yeah, right now I'm reading the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana and Vedanta, the Vadagandu. Vadagandu in Kannada means inner eye. The inner eye of Vedanta. This Kulkarni has written a book. It's so wonderful. Yeah.
In fact,
wonderful. Thank you for the sharing. Yeah.
I was going to also suggest,
Sri
Devaraya Kulkarni has written one more book called Shankara Vedanta Saurabha.
I think
it is written, at least to me personally, again, without any knowledge of scriptures, to see this as a fact of life, I have immensely benefited. So I just wanted to share that with the group for people who can read the Kannada. Shankara Vedanta Saurabha.
That's right. Yeah. This Devaraya Kulkarni is really wonderful. I found his language is very precise. He also exerts like Sachidanandendra Saraswati. He takes maximum care to express things in the most precise way. And in a different tradition, J. Krishnamurti also was like that. He was all the time exerting to express his insight in the most precise language, master of language. But he doesn't admit that he's in another tradition. He is different from this tradition, definitely. He doesn't like to be labeled in any way. That's a different matter. So, last question, if anybody has in the chat, what is this?
I have one more question, if I can ask. Ranjan,
you have one more question?
Yes, the follow-up question to this, the last question, actually.
Okay.
So there were like three things he said, the previous person. He said there, what do you call, waking state, deep state, and sleep. In Mandukya Upanishad, it says they're the fourth state, right? Turiya. That's what you are.
Yeah, it's all in a manner of saying. There is no fourth really, but in a manner of thought development, there are only these three. See, you say that there are these three, and what is common to all these three, you temporarily call it the fourth. But there is no fourth. In fact, there are no three also. One only appears as these three. So that fourth is, there is an expression in the Shankara's Dhyana Shloka, Maya Sankhya Turiyam. This fourth is Maya, not literally to be taken. So in some Yoga Shastra, they have made it really fourth And you know, this popular literature is crazy. You will one day pick up some book where the author will say, this morning I went beyond Turiya also.
Oh, okay.
They have all fancy ideas of going somewhere, you know. The real Vedanta says, oh dear, you don't go anywhere. Things just
Yeah.
appear in you and disappear. You don't go anywhere. You don't even go to dream or deep sleep. You are, and a different perception takes place. So this Turiya, don't take it as literally and seriously true. It's a part of some thought development some teachers have employed.
All right. Thank you, Swamiji.
Okay. So let's close here for this session. We'll meet again in another webinar. Om Namah Shivaya.